NFL, but it was still during his time with the Eagles. You and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings, and was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960,
and he will fight his way into the end zone for a touchdown. Jerome Bettis taking it in from 2 yards out, and the AFC has taken the early lead. And they would not be denied on the ground, powering it in just one play after they got stopped short.
And how about how many tight ends were on the field? Because in today's NFL, we think of the tight end more as a pass catcher. But this group, they tell them you've got to be able to run block to stay on this team. And they committed to it and got it done right there.
Vinatieri connecting on the extra point, and it's now a 7-0 game. So that drives 7 plays in length, and it's culminated by a 2-yard touchdown run. And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. Taking it about the 1. Now Hester will get a shot. And beyond the 20, but not by much. In fact, just a yard pass there to the 21. With the NFC offense coming out here, and you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling a coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
And he's taken down right at the 45-yard line. The catch and run going to wind up netting him 33 yards.
That is the exact right play call against that defense. So a hat tip to the offensive play caller because he won that part of the chess match. But give credit to his players as well. They won the execution part of it.
Now first down carry by Sanders, well defensed as they'll hold him to just a couple. Second down coming up. The last run got a couple. Here's 2nd and 8. Throwing is far. Sideline throw, it's complete. And a nice job there of keeping the toes inbounds. 1 quarter in the books at the Coliseum. What a day. It's the AFC Stars with the early lead. This is the John Madden Legacy game on EA Sports. The NFC with the football here to begin the 2nd quarter. In need of a conversion on 3rd down. They had the big play to start the drive. Not much sense. Able to haul it in is Kittle. And he gets it down a yard or 2 shy of the 30 before he's out of bounds. Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. They had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. Showed some tough running, but they'll drop him at the 5-yard line. It's a 6-yard gain on the ground, and that'll make it 2nd and 4. 2 minutes remain here in the first half of the John Madden Legacy game. We'll be back. And we want to let you know, give you a fair warning, that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure you stick around for that. Again, coming up at halftime. Under pressure, down he goes. Sacked at the 10. The Mississippi State man, Chris Jones, with a sack there.
Chris Jones is one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL, and I think he's at his best when he plays defensive tackle. Consistently gets to the quarterback, 9 sacks in 2021.
Play number 9 on the drive coming up, and they need 9 yards on 3rd down. From the gun, it's Favre. And this is going to be incomplete.
Like what I see so far out of this defense, because they've been showing their best coverages on 3rd down. So far, only allowed 1 conversion on a handful of attempts. One area of their game plan that they've executed to perfection.
The Hall of Famers kick is good, and they are on the board, but still trailing. It's 7-3. Well, the good news, at least they won't take that goose egg into the locker room, maybe a little something to build on.
Yeah, it hasn't been the greatest of first halves for them, has it? But at least now, as you mentioned, they put some points on the board. And it's been funny in our experience watching games. Sometimes something as little as a field goal could change the fortunes of the team, and they could come out and look real sharp in the second half.
But the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy, and he's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
And he gets this to the 35. Good for a gain of 5. Creeping up on a minute to play in this first half. On the toss. Here's him. No, bottled up. Fumble. It's out. It's loose. And his guys will take over at the 30-yard line. They had to settle for 3 last drive, hoping this second go-around ends in 6. In good position, 1st and 10. Here's Favre to throw. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. And luckily, one of his teammates able to fall on it, so the NFC will hang on to the football. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts, as the clock's going to stop with 47 seconds to go in half number 1. The fumble on 1st down now. Here's 2nd down. From the shotgun, it's Favre. That's swung out wide to Sanders. And they'll work this down inside the 30. Now another timeout called for by the offense as they stop it here with just under 40 ticks to go in this first half. So they've been unable to capitalize on a great field position as of yet. Here's 3rd and 9. Now Favre. And he's going to go down here, a sack. They push him back to the 34. Cam Hayward, always a force, got back there for the sack. Well, he continues, Charles, to be under constant pressure, and these sacks, they're starting to pile up.
And if they want to have a realistic chance in this one, they've got to change their blocking assignments. They've got to do a better job to keep him upright. If he's going to be on the deck constantly, they got no chance to win this.
Coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. And he'll be stopped up at the 25. the AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
Oh, and a bad throw there. It's intercepted. Picked off by the Hall of Famer Kevin Green. And he is going to bring this back inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. Not the way you envision things to start out the third quarter. One play and already a turnover.
It's interesting. You and I were talking with the coach, and he talked about how at halftime, as a play caller, he wanted to make sure he got a new script going for the second half, not just the one that he operated off of to start the game. Nowhere on that script did it have that result.
And he will lose yardage here back at the 23-yard line. A full 5-yard loss that time. It's going to make second down pretty tough.
This defense is just flat getting after it. They have not given up much of anything in the run game. Case in point right there.
So a 5-yard run the other way in the wrong direction, and that leads us to second and 15. Another run here with Sanders. And he'll go down here at the 12-yard line. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42, he just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, it was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
It's a second down run with Sanders. And he's going to press this one forward as they stop him right around the 1. Now, they'd really like to make the short field pay off. We'll see if they can, but this is 3rd and goal. He'll look to throw. Looking end zone, but it's incomplete. So they opted to pass for it on 3rd and goal. Let's see what they do on 4th and goal.
Well, I think they threw it with the idea that if they didn't get it, they would go for it on 4th and goal. So they got another play in their pocket. They're going to have to call it right now. No field goal here.
Well, whatever was said in the locker room during the break must have worked. They forced the turnover. They didn't get the touchdown, Charles, but it does translate into 3 points to begin the second half.
Exactly as they discussed in the locker room at halftime. Get some points to get things kick-started. Now start your half off with some momentum. Gives you something to build on for your next possession.
And a decent return out to the 27-yard line. The offense for the AFC set to go now. And here we are almost through 3 quarters of play, and this passing game still has not really found any kind of rhythm.
Put it mildly, because they're not even over 100 yards yet. And in today's NFL, where it's a pass-first league, that is quite surprising. Not many teams patient enough to stick with the run. Everybody wants to advance the ball through the air. They've got to get their timing back.
To try again after the sack, Brady. A quick throw knocked away. It's incomplete. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together, but how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to...
Back now here on EA Sports. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. They're holding on right now to that slim advantage in a one-score game, and you hear a lot about 2-minute offensive football.